Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Current Issues. I'm your host, Hesham Tillawi. Welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Kaukab Siddique. Professor, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you. I'm honored to be with you, Dr. Hesham.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Professor Siddique, let's see. Okay, can you tell me what are your thoughts about what just took place in India? Yes.
Well, it seems that there is an attempt being made here to make India and Pakistan fight and to use one against the other, and both of them cannot afford war. You know, they're they're in need of basic needs for their people. But an attempt is being made to bring them into collision course so that there will be a crumbling of the two countries. And Pakistan, especially being an Islamic country, it has to be brought to its knees. So if there is a war, it will be very expensive for Pakistan because it is a small country as compared to India and has armed forces which are about, one-third of those of India. So this will be a very sweet revenge for the Israelis if they can bring about this conflict. So there is an attempt, even the weakest Pakistani will tell you that he doesn't like Israel and they don't want to accept Israel for the simple reason that Pakistan, is a conceptual country. It is a country based upon an ideology that people have the right to live according to their own ideas. That is, you could call it separatism, but in a more positive sense, I would say that this is the idea of self-determination.
Okay, so now if we take a look at really what happened, you think somebody has grievances with India, but why, if you have grievances with India, why also attack this Chabad house, which is the Jewish house in Mumbai? Why would you do that if your grievances are with India? Why are they bringing in the Israel-Jewish issue here?
Well, I'm sure that as the investigation proceeds, we'll get to know more. But at this time, what we can see is that there is a very big alliance which has been formulated in the last few years between Israel and India. And America is in fact being egged on by the Israelis to have this union with India so as to squeeze Pakistan, as they say. There was a Brookings Institute conference yesterday where they were discussing this and how Pakistan should be squeezed. So this attack on the Israelis, it might seem to be a totally, a random kind of attack, but I doubt it very much because, you see, it brought out the fact of the Israeli-Indian alliance.
Now, let me bring in another factor here. As you know, the Israeli-United States government alliance that went into place to actually destroy Iraq, they tried to get India into their camp, and they did not succeed. So could this be, because India's strategic alliances and self-interest is not really with the West. It's, even though it likes to go with the West, but it actually with the East, because they have China on one side, they have Russia, so they have other factors here besides going in the Western camp and supporting Israel. So was this an attempt to drag India? If you don't want to come on your own to our camp, we're gonna force you to come to our camp. Do you see it that way, strategically speaking, that they're dragging India on Israel's camp?
Dr. Shah. Yeah, Dr. Shah, strategically you might be right, because India has been coming out of its independent position very slowly but steadily, because at one time there was a Soviet Union which created a balance in the world politics between the USSR and the United States. But the Soviet Union is no longer there, and India, as is upper classes of India, they're getting more and more into bed with the capitalists here in America. Look at this Silicon Valley and so on. You'll find it absolutely packed with Indians, And a lot of this outsourcing of business from America is happening to India. Now, if you have a AOL account or MSN account or some other thing like that, and you need some technical support, you suddenly find you're talking to someone in New Delhi because it has been outsourced. So there is this interlocking of the upper classes of India with the Western elites and the capitalists, which is slowly pushing India, has pushed, I think, away from its socialistic ideals, which Nehru at one time talked about socialism and stuff like that. But with now the main people are Tata and so on. Tata is one of the big capitalists.
Dr. Siddique,
very prominent.
Yeah, one thing that I find interesting, though, in this whole thing, anytime you have a hostage situation or a terrorist situation, normally those terrorists will have demand. They want something. We haven't heard not even one demand. Do you find this strange?
It's not only strange, it's extremely extraordinary and unusual.
Now, I guess one idea out there is Pakistan will take a tougher stand with the tribal areas between Pakistan and India. Pakistan and Afghanistan. And so very much what the leadership in Pakistan would probably do is finish off the resistance there, and then they will be left alone, and they will be easy for India and the other Western government to actually finish them off. Because if there's any resistance against Western colonization, if we are to call it that, or attempt of colonization, the resistance would be from the tribal area. So if the leadership in Pakistan finishes off the tribal area, then there's nobody there to resist. Is that a correct reading?
Yes, Dr. Hesham, you're exactly on target. The only thing which will go wrong for these planners is that the people in those areas are very good fighters. But once they get on their feet and they organize themselves better than they have, these plans might fail. That is what could mess up the entire planning of these forces. But you're right. At this time, that's what it looks like. Right?
Because there's no way on earth that India or the Western world is going to accept a Pakistan with nuclear bomb or nuclear power, military nuclear power. And incidentally, what the law minister of India said, that the nuclear power is with non-Muslim countries. Nuclear bombs is with non-Muslim countries. The only Muslim country that has the bomb is Pakistan. So do you think that would be like a bargaining chip that they will use to say, get rid of nuclear bomb and we'll keep you in power?
I think that will be a line which Pakistanis will not cross, because that would mean that's like national suicide, If you accept that, then the Indians will attack. They easily take over. This is one of the deterrents against Indian military forces, is the nuclear weapon which Pakistan has. And Pakistan has a lot of these, jihad organizations which have now tremendous support there. So if India attacks, there might be a people's war. It will be sort of like Iraq. I hope it doesn't happen, but Pakistan is not going to give in. That's for sure.
Okay.
So things might backfire against these plotters and planners.
Good. Dr. Siddique, I just have time to say thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Dr. Hesham, I'm honored because, you are one of the few voices in this country who have even dared to discuss stuff like this. So I thank you very much, and it was my pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, like we always say, we bring you the other side. And if you have been watching this program in the last 6 years, you know we had been on the right side all along. When we first started telling you about the war in Iraq and about 9/11, some of you thought we were crazy, we were nuts, but at the end, all of you came around.